Hi, both. Thanks for joining us today on our Business Gurus channel, where we will be discussing key business topics to help students grasp the most important elements of their course in preparation for their exams and future career. Let's get started.
Okay, let's unpack this. You sent over some source material, really getting into market research and how social media is kind of changing everything. Specifically, the focus in your source seems to be on the advantages, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The material you shared makes a really strong argument. It basically says social media has revolutionized how businesses get the info they need,
Yeah.
the intelligence to make smarter decisions, ones that really aim to uh, maximize their success.
Right. And our job here in this deep dive just for you is to sort of pull apart those specific advantages your source talks about.
Yeah.
What actually makes social media such a powerful tool here?
Okay, let's dive in. So the source kicks off with a couple of big ones that really stand out because they lower the barrier to entry significantly. First up, it mentions this is a cheap/free method of obtaining responses.
Which is huge compared to traditional ways. Yeah, like focus groups or big mail surveys.
Exactly. Think about the cost, the logistics involved in those. It
Yeah.
takes serious budget. Social media just slashes that cost, sometimes down to almost nothing. It makes pre-sophisticated research suddenly accessible to, well, almost anyone, not just the corporate giants.
That's a really interesting point. It kind of democratizes insight gathering.
It does. And tied right into that is the next point, access to a much larger audience. With social media, you're not really limited by geography or, the cost of physically reaching
We
someone.
tap into potentially millions, right? Billions even.
Potentially, yes. And what's fascinating here, as your source implies, isn't just the number of people, but also that the data is often, well, less filtered. People are just sharing thoughts, feelings, opinions in their natural online spaces, not answering a formal survey question.
Okay, so it's cheaper, wider reach, and maybe more authentic in a way.
Mhm.
But then your source moves on to something I think is critical today, speed.
Yeah, it really emphasizes that you get more up-to-date responses much quicker.
Hmm.
I mean, in business now, things move so fast, waiting weeks, even days sometimes, for results. That's often too late.
Right, you missed the boat.
Exactly. Social media gives you this real-time feedback channel. You can see trends emerging, reactions happening almost as they unfold. It allows for really agile decisions. Campaign not working, you'll probably hear about it fast online and can adjust.
And it's not just a messy flood of fast data, is it? The source mentions ways to actually track what's relevant.
That's right. It points out that you can use methods, e.g. hashtags, to better track trends.
Hmm.
Hashtags, keywords, what's trending, these aren't just, features for users. For a researcher, they're gold.
How so?
Well, they're like signposts. They show what people are collectively interested in, talking about. By watching relevant terms, businesses can spot what's gaining momentum, maybe identify a cultural moment happening, or just understand the feeling around their brand or industry as it happens.
Giving them a real pulse on things.
Precisely. It's a level of immediacy that traditional methods just struggle to match.
Now, your source briefly lists some key terms: primary research, secondary research, quantitative, qualitative data. We're focusing on the social media advantages. But how does this social data fit into those concepts?
That's a good connection to make. Seeing those terms reminds us that fundamentally, social media data is still data. It just comes from a new place and has unique properties. And it's useful in, well, actually both primary and secondary ways and gives you both kinds of data.
Okay, explain that a bit.
Sure. You can gather quantitative data like counting mentions, likes, shares, tracking how often a hashtag is used. That gives you numbers, trends you can
That's a
measure.
number of stuff.
Right. But you also get incredibly rich qualitative data. You can actually read the comments, the posts, the discussions, understand the why behind the numbers, the opinions, the feelings, the reasons people share, all in their own words.
So it spans both.
Exactly. So those classic recent ideas still apply. Social media just provides this revolutionary source and method for getting both types of insight. And it links back to all those advantages: cost, scale, speed, tracking trends in real time.
What's fascinating here, then, is seeing how these pieces fit together, just like your source outlined. The low cost opens the door.
Uh-huh.
The huge audience gives you the raw material.
Yeah.
And the speed and the tracking tools let you turn that raw stuff into usable intelligence fast.
That's it, precisely. It's a really potent mix of factors. It fundamentally changes how businesses can learn what they need to know to well, as the source says, maximize their chance of success.
So wrapping up this deep dive for you, the core message from your source is pretty clear.
Mhm.
Social media brings some really distinct, powerful advantages to the market research table. It makes it cheaper, lets you reach way more people, delivers insights much faster, and gives you these unique ways to monitor what people are buzzing about right now.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with building on that. Given this incredible speed and sheer volume of information from social media, how might businesses use this not just to see what people think now, but to perhaps start predicting what they might think or need or want next?
Hmm. Moving from reaction to prediction, that's definitely something to think about. A powerful tool with some really interesting future potential. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into your source material.
Thanks to both of you for joining us today. You've been listening to the Business Gurus. Let's now hand it over to you. What further questions do you have based on what we've discussed so far? Leave a comment and we'll get back to you right away. If you haven't already, hit that follow for more business tips.